to the stage where Jim was in I thought, yes, I can probably do this.
Well, in fact, we heard you honing your rock climbing techniques at the beginning of this programme. Tony Sheehan came down to watch you on those sheer walls, and he was saying, basically set it to music.
That's the sound of cold. He's got in the video.
He's going to be talking about this one alongside with his friend. How high is it? Before we go, it's 13 metres above the base. Average height 6.
Let's go, Rick. Let's go.
There you go. About knee height on your left side. That's the line.
Step up. Yeah, yeah.
I don't find that I miss moments like quite as much. Not quite. You can feel around. Nobody's going to get in your way. Tell you that you're going to bump into them. It's quite nice to have my hands free and not be using my stick all the time. I do miss not being able to see some of the ledges and some of the ponds, but Andreas is a fantastic instructor. Well, you'll be on Andreas in a minute because I'm a bit stuck and I need to know where I put my next hand.
You're going to just put your right hand with your ears. That's it. That's it.
So what sort of fitness regime have you had to put in place to do this? I'm very lucky. Because I can't do a fitness regime which 50 pull-ups with my arms facing out every morning. I have to hang from one arm as long as I can, which has gone from about 3 seconds to about 30 seconds. I have to do crunches, which are glorified sit-ups where you have to raise your legs from the ground as well. I have to do 6 sets of 2 minutes of those, and I have to do 200 push-ups a day. And my wife is happy with the result, but my body is going to be much too leaking. So has this all been aimed at the old man of Roy? It was aimed at getting me back out on very serious rock climbs. I took on the old man of Roy because my climbing partner Matthew nagged me into it. I mentioned to him that I wanted to do it one day, and he was very taken by the idea of the Master Challenge. So he's browbeaten me into doing it. So he and I have spent the last 4 months doing an awful lot of exercise to get strong enough for what is going to be a 7-hour climb from bottom to top and down again.
We'll come on to the whole business going down again, but how much do you rely on a companion in this? What's the relationship like?
I'm actually going to have 2 companions. There is going to be somebody who leads the climb. He is a qualified British mountain guide, so he puts in what is called the protection. He leads the route, and I then climb the rope which he pulls in, so that if I do fall, I only fall a metre or so. I then have to have a second person climbing in parallel to me, so that if I get into difficulties or I just am not seeing or feeling where the handhold or foothold is, he can say, put your foot out to 7 o'clock about 6 inches and you'll find something worth treading on. So I'd say once every 4 or 5 moves, I have to have somebody spotting the hold for me, otherwise I would just get exhausted hanging 200 feet up above the Atlantic, and then I'd have to come back down again.
I have to ask the naive question. I mean, how dangerous is it?
The Old Man of Hoy is red sandstone, and that can be a bit loose, so I could be highly unlucky and something could fall on me, and that could hurt. I could have a metre fall and just land awkwardly, but that's probably just a bruising, so it's not that unsafe. I'm probably more unsafe crossing Finchley Road.
Right. But rather further to fall, of course.
I will always be roped up.
What are the most difficult parts of this to do technically for you?
Technically, the 2 most difficult parts are what called a traverse, where I have to move about 10 metres from the left down a couple of metres and across a very thin ledge, at which point I'm about 150 feet up, making nothing but only from the sea and a 12-inch wide ledge.
A lot of people get very scared at that point because of exposure. You just feel that there's nothing underneath you. Fortunately, not being able to see very much, in my own mind, I'm only 5 inches off the ground, so I shouldn't imagine that will be too bad. But the bit that really scares me is the overhang, or the old man's belly, if you like. I have to go up underneath his belly, and that sticks out at me 4 to 5 feet, and I don't like hanging upside down and pulling myself up arm over arm, so I'm hoping I get that right the first time.
Now, part of this is also to raise money for research into retinitis pigmentosa, the condition that you have. How much are you hoping to raise?
I'd like to raise £10,000. The Just Giving page has been open for 10 days now, and so far we're up to £4,500. So fingers crossed I might even go past the target I've normally got in my head.
Now, I have a typical blind person's picture in my mind of this thing that you've described, going straight up to a point, which it probably doesn't. What actually will you find at the top, and what will you do when you get there?
It's a flat, grassy top, about the size of half a cricket pitch. There is a box up there, apparently, with a log of all the people who've climbed, which I will try and sign in my best scrawl. And then it's a 450-foot abseil down to the causeway at the bottom.
With your free hand, how would you like to do an audio diary for us while you're up there?
You might need to edit out some of the language. Yes, I will happily do so. I hope you've got a 7-hour tape.
Well, let's hope we can get a 7-hour slot for it. And we'll be following Red Sail's adventure later in the summer, and there's more details about his climb on our website. And that's it for today. You can email us with your comments and queries, intouch@bbc.co.uk. You can call our action line on 0800 044 044 within 24 hours of tonight's programme ending. And there's a free download of the programme on our website. That'll be up from tomorrow. And just one programme signpost for you. Face the Facts tomorrow is looking at the policy of shelter employment.
Maker Revolution. He made his name as editor of the magazine Wired, but he's now stepped down to create and run 2 new start-up companies. And he's also the author of the recent book, Makers, the New Industrial Revolution, all about the new techniques of micro-production and the possibilities of 3D printing.
In 1984, we had the Macintosh. In 1977, we had the original Apple II. Those were not the first computers, but they added the word personal and desktop to computer. And simply giving computers to regular people is what changed the world. We now have the ability to add words personal and desktop to manufacturing. 3D printers, laser cutters, CNC machines, desktop CAD software. These are industrial scale technologies and they're now available to regular folks.
They're called printers because that's an easy way for outsiders to understand them. They do indeed print something, a laser head or a squirter going across a surface and building up layer by layer something which can be hardened from plastic, from metal, from powder, and you've got an object, and a very complex object indeed.
Think of it like the inkjet printer that you have on your desktop. The inkjet printer manufacturing. If you want to buy a jellyfish fish tank, which is quite hard actually, you might want to go with something niche, something more artisanal. One of the things we're learning about manufacturing today is that the cost of globalization, of having everything made in China, is not just that you kind of have a limited choice to only that works in the mass, but there's the long supply chain, the carbon cost, the political risk, what it does to jobs in the developed world. I think with 3D printing and the other digital desktop manufacturing technologies, we have the ability to bring the artisanal, the niche back.
In big space, where there are going to be dozens of additive manufacturing machines, 3D printers, soon. The idea is that customers will send in over the internet digital data which contains the precise designs of the objects the machines can then print at around $20 to $30 for a mobile phone case, and they can run into thousands depending on the size of the object to be printed and the material it's going to be made from. In this vast warehouse space, the company hopes to have 30 to 50 printers all at work by next year. Shapeways Elisa
Carved
Richardson.
out with each layer that's coming across.
Here it goes, yes.
And these basically have the capability to
founder and chief executive of Shapeways is Peter Wemerhausen. He explains why he's building what he thinks is the factory of the future.
One of the things that we figured out is that in 3D printing, the location where you make stuff isn't as important as with traditional manufacturing, which opens up a really interesting new possibility. That is that you can manufacture again close to the end user scale as you would imagine a typical factory to be. And we will start making more of them, again, agreeing with your idea that you can get more and more and more of them closer and closer to the end user.
What do you say to the charge which people are now making that this is all very trivial? That what you're helping to do is people make very trivial things. Phone covers are not the most interesting things in the world. Little piece of individual jewellery. Not that
She
revolutionary.
came up with the product idea all the way through